I'm here in Elliot's raspberry patch, and we wanted to show you a little bit about red raspberry leaf, which is one of the most commonly consumed herbs in pregnancy. It grows extremely well in Elliot's garden here, and we just wanted to show you what it looks like when it's growing and talk a little bit about what it's used for. So all of these tall plants are the second year growth. Raspberry is a biennial, meaning it takes 2 years to produce its fruits. So when you're actually harvesting them, you want to take it from the first year plants because that's most of the energy is in the leaves, and the leaf is a part of the plant that's used medicinally. Of course, the raspberries are delicious, and that comes from the second year plants. So raspberry is in the rose family, and all of the plants in the rose family, which is roses, apples, hawthorn, they're all really high in tannins, and that's what we love rose family plants for. So tannins is the feeling, tannins lead to astringency, and astringency is the feeling of when you drink dry red wine or drink black tea that kind of makes your mouth feel dry. And that dry feeling in your mouth is because the tannins are making the proteins in mucous membranes kind of tighten up. And that tightening up is the medicinal quality of this plant. So for any kind of conditions where there's a laxity, a looseness in the mucous membranes, things like diarrhea or colds or allergies that are making you have a lot of mucus or sore throats, those things can all really benefit from an astringent plant. And all of the rose family plants have astringent properties. So when you're preparing plants that have a lot of astringency and tannins, the best way to extract it is in hot water preparation. So this plant is ideal for tea. It's really not as effective as a tincture. When you make tea, it tastes a lot like black tea, and that's because it has those tannins that you're used to tasting in black tea. It's easy to find tea bags of red raspberry at many stores, and this tea bag probably has maybe a teaspoon of red raspberry in there. But you could take quite a lot more than that. You could, if you buy loose leaf red raspberry, or if you harvest it yourself, you could probably take a tablespoon or two at a time, and you can make a big quantity of it and drink it over the day. In addition to the astringent properties, it's a wonderful plant for toning the uterus, and that's really why a lot of people take it in pregnancy, is for that uterine toning property. When taken over time, it's not a plant that you can take it once and expect a whole lot of change. But when you take it over time throughout pregnancy, usually starting around the second trimester, it can help tone the uterus, and it may lead to a shorter labor, less preterm labor, and generally help the uterus get ready for the process of labor and birthing. So down here you can see the first year growths of the red raspberry. Obviously a lot shorter. They don't have these same flower buds. They don't have the flower buds that the second year growth has. And so if you're harvesting these, you're so cute. These would be ideal to harvest from because the plant isn't yet putting energy into the flowers. So you would take your scissors or a sharp thumbnail and just clip this off, clip off a leaf. Don't take too much from any one plant, but you can go down the row and all the little plants that are growing in the aisles or that are escaping, you can harvest your leaves, and then you just dry them in loose bundles on a screen or hanging, and then crumble them up, and you can put them right in your tea. When you're making teas, you want to dry the plant first because plants have really thick, sturdy cell walls, and you're not going to get the nutrients out of it unless it's dehydrated first, generally. So raspberry is a super, super safe plant. Really safe throughout pregnancy. Generally advised to start taking in the second trimester. The only reason you might not want to take raspberry is because it has that really tightening effect on tissues. If you already have nutritional deficiencies, including things like anemia, it might make your body have a harder time absorbing iron and other nutrients. So probably best not to take it if you're dealing with severe anemia, or if you're already constipated, because it has this very drying astringent effect. It could make constipation worse. But aside from that, it is quite a safe plant to take throughout pregnancy and lactation. It could even help benefit milk supply because it's very high in nutrients. It's safe for children. It's a pretty mild, easy tea to drink. You can sweeten it with honey or any other sweeteners, and really just drink freely throughout pregnancy. Here's a little patch of our native raspberry, which is commonly called Thimbleberry, Rubus Parviflorus. All of the raspberries can be used interchangeably. This one has super soft leaves, no spines at all on this raspberry. A lot of hikers will use this as their toilet paper when they're out. And it has all the same properties that we enjoy in the garden red raspberry leaf, being a great astringent and a uterine toner. So just wanted to point this one out because this is our native plant that grows all over the place. Whenever you're harvesting, especially when you're harvesting native plants, just harvest with care and respect, and don't take too much from any one plant.